Okay, so today we are looking at one of my favourite amps. Someone accused me of saying that because I'm the dealer for them as well. Yeah, no, that's true. Still one of my favourite amps. It really is. Look, I personally own a few Acom amps. I love them, really do. This one obviously is pretty new sitting here, and this one's actually being shipped over to one of my UK customers, and I thought we'd just do a bit of a quick video. Now, am I covering my butt because it's got to be shipped? Of course I am. Don't get me wrong, but I've never had an Acom ship with any issues getting it from point A to point B. It really is one of those things where we've shipped so many Acom amplifiers all over the world. A lot of the applications outside of amateur radio that we sell a lot of these into, but obviously for commercial and confidence reasons, we'll just talk about the ham radio market at the moment, which is exactly what this one's going to be going into. So I thought we'd choose a little Kenwood TS50 that I've just got it set up at around about 60 watts in, 50-60 watts, so it's probably, you could drive a little bit harder I suppose, but I'm not looking to go too crazy on this, and we just have a look at the Acom 1000 HF plus 6 meter amplifier, and that's the beauty of the Acom 1000, that it does do 6 meters as well as doing HF, which a lot of you know my other amplifier, and I love it incessantly, apart from the dust on it at the moment, is the Acom 2000, and that's the latest model 2000A, and they're a really nice amplifier. I can't believe I only cleaned this the other day. So much dust. Anyway, so that 2000A is connected to the 7850, my little golden piece of jewelry. Anyway, so to do today's test, and often this is a problem for people when they're buying and selling amplifiers. Someone will say to them, and there's a few things I want to cover about amplifiers actually today. But the most common question on, let's say, a second-hand amplifier is, well, how do I know it's doing the right output? Send me a video, send me a link, send me something that can show me what this amplifier does. Now, not everybody has got a 2 kilowatt Bird Thermaline unit to be able to. This will do 2,500 watts actually, and I must show you something. Have a look at this table. Remember this was full the other day? Everything's been sold that's been taken off this table. Amazing. We do have coming up, just to make a note, if you're the sort of person that needs a dummy load, this here will do its 2,000 watts peak, no problems. This is the 8001, and a lot of people say, oh yeah, 500 watts, 501 watts is going to blow. Do your research on these things. This one will be coming up for sale because I just don't need two big loads in the property, but this is like brand new. Just check it out. It's absolutely like brand new. I can give you the full story on this if you're the buyer. Quite happy to, but just thought I'd mention that because what we're going to cover in a minute is important. Okay, so basically the Acom 1000, and this is the later model too, by the way. You can tell by the front, see how there's a different front. There's actually a different display in them. The previous display was a lot lighter, a little bit harder to read. A lot of people complained about. I've got another 1000 that'll be coming up for sale at some stage, only because I'm ordering a new 1500 for my property here. So I've got a 1000 that's one of mine that'll probably come up with the older display, and it's a little bit dimmer. So I'm actually going to order have ordered a new display for it. So we'll be putting that in there. Okay, so what's our setup? Kenwood TS50 running straight through to the Acom 1000, over to the dummy load. Now, why have I got a 500 watt slug in there? Because due to my very good friend in Canberra, we've now got the 2x5x, and it is so accurate, very accurate. That lead, we're going through a very heavy duty lead out of the amplifier, coming down, bang, into the Bird, which we said was 2,500 watts carrier. That will sit there. I can't go into exactly what tests we do with 3x Acom 2000s and combiners, etc. But I can tell you now that there will take it. So, but anyway, the applications for that are way outside of amateur radio. All right. So at the moment, we're not punching, too much into it. We're giving it just a nice, I think it's about 50 watts or so. Let's have a look, see what we're getting out of it. Okay, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3. So we're getting out. Don't believe the meter completely there. Now, see how the load cap, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, when I put a carrier in that, we'll have a look at this in a minute. I'll show you how you can nip these up a little bit and get a bit more power. But hello, hello, hello. Okay, so that's on the 1000 watt scale. And just to explain that, 500 watt slug, meter in the top position. So this is how they work it. Is that the a bit backwards in some respects, but the top position is the 100 watt here, which of course becomes 1000 watt. The middle position becomes the 500. So just to show you what happens in the middle position, you watch. Yeah, of course it's going to go like that. And of course, in the 5 times position, you're not going to get much movement at all. Hello, 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 hello. So on that one, you're reading the 5 times scale, which the 2 times scale I find is probably the most accurate. The 5 times, we've done a bit of testing with this now, with different slugs and compared. The 5 times is a little bit variable. It's not probably as accurate as I'd like it to be. If I was doing a test on a 5 kilowatt unit, I would probably not have a 1000 watt slug in here with the 5 times. I probably wouldn't get quite the accurate reading on 5000 watts. We've done this test, and it's still reasonably close, but there was about a couple of 100 watt differential between using that and a 5k slug. By the way, I had to borrow the 5k slug. Thank you, you know who you are. And we did this test because we wanted to know, and for what we want to do when we're doing 5k testing for applications that we do commercially, the test is so close it's not funny. We can get the indicators we need. We sort of know what the differential is. But the 2 times test, very, very close. So if you're thinking about putting a PEP kit into, say, a Bird 43, now this is a 4134 that was a previous PEP that was then modified to do PEP. You don't need to buy the 4314, you can buy a 43A, put the PEP kit in and get the same result. And I love this. It is absolutely beautiful. So at the moment, I'm not going to worry about, we can see lots of power, lots and lots of power. We're not here to show you lots and lots of power, but while we are in a dummy load at the moment, I suppose we can. And that's the thing, is that there's been some controversy. How do I know? I don't have the money to buy a Acom 1000 brand new, so I'm looking at either TL922. I just bought a beautiful SB220 out of Adelaide. That's another good example. A couple of 3-500Z tubes in it. Let's say we get a lot of Mtrons come through, and any of these amplifiers, whether it's running the 3-500s, which, to be fair, we see more amplifiers that are getting a little bit worse for wear with 3-500Zs. Let me turn that down a bit. But I suppose my message to you all is also that the 4CX800, it's a beautiful valve, but it is not bulletproof. It is not cheap. So I probably want to be making this not just a test on an Acom 1000 to show my client in the UK that his amplifier actually works. I also want to get across, when you're buying second hand, and this is why we've been the service agents for Acom for 20 years. Seriously, it really does go back that far, and we've been dealing with Acom since the New Zealand agent. Just some history, prior to Acom appointed me so many years ago, you had to buy your Acom out of New Zealand, and he was really good at what he did, no question. And I've got a lot of time for him. Great guy. He passed the mantle to me, and then we were the only people for a long time doing Acom in Australia, probably for the first 10 years. And then we felt, in discussions with Acom, as you know, I have a lot of different areas of electronics I'm involved in, that we wanted to expand the marketing into the amateur radio in Australia, market in Australia, but the market here is so small. And that's the thing, is that it was actually a pleasure to take discussions with both Ross at the time and Lee, and Ross had way too much on his plate at the time, and just it wasn't. But Lee actually was very interested in the concept of, and I was aware that Val and Acom had some discussions with Lee, and we had discussions, and I said, look, both these two dealers have got a huge scope of ability to move a lot more product than we have in the ham radio market. Our other markets we've got tied up under contract, so they know that. But by the same token, I wanted better visibility, and this really has been good, because a lot more Acom amps. Look, they still come here if they need to be fixed. We're happy to do that. Acom, they literally send us boards, send us bits and pieces, pay us, all that sort of stuff. So there's never an issue. If you have a problem with an Acom amplifier, get it through to us. You can buy it from anywhere in Australia. Like just recently, Sydney Clocks has started selling Acom, and I've got to be honest, it's just another outlet where people can go and have a look at a product, and a little bit like the other two, it's good to be able to put your hands on it, see it, have a look at it working. I mean, the videos are lovely, but let's be honest, guys, I live in Tangambalanga, northeast Victoria. This is why we appoint dealers in capital cities and places that make a lot more sense. It'll never be about the money with me. Money I've got enough of, and life I don't have enough of. So I have a thing that says, well, let's do the best for the product, and I'm a big believer of Acom, no question about that. So when you're buying an amplifier, it is so important that you get in front of it. No matter what anybody tells you, get in front of that amplifier. Get somebody in front of it that because we're seeing more and more, especially in the older 4CX800 amps, particularly DX1s. If you've got one with the analog meters in it, it means it's a fairly old amp. If it's never had a tube change, it could be getting close. Even we've seen we replaced a tube in a DX1D not that long ago, and that was actually a job for he wasn't selling that, he just wanted it repaired, and of course we get great valves out of Acom. Here's the problem: 4CX800s are starting to dry up, but yes, there's a new manufacturer of them, and they are expensive compared to what we've been used to. Now, I'm not going to go into pricing here right now, because if I do that, someone's going to say, oh, but I saw it on eBay for this. And absolutely, there are some pulls, and there are some things that you can do to save some money on an Acom 1000 tube, or a DX1D tube, or a number of amps that use them. But you can save yourself so much bother if you can't get this amplifier to do pretty close on 900 to 1000 watts. 9 times out of 10, it will not be the filter circuit, it will not be the power supply, it will not be anything else. It'll be pull out this fella here, throw it over your left shoulder, and put another one in, and neutralize, set it up, etc. So just be wary, guys. We're seeing more and more of this with older amps, and people are getting a bit of a shock. I've just done one amplifier repair that was over $3,000. I won't go into whose it was or what it was. It wasn't just a valve, or it was a couple of valves on that one, but it was quite a bit of other things that had gone wrong. Big voltage hit, but the majority of that costing, certainly 2/3 of that costing, with the valve costs, to get him out of trouble with some brand newies. So what I'm trying to say there is, yes, they are getting a lot more expensive, so please be mindful of second-hand anything. And this is not a ploy to sell you a new amplifier, to have you run to Lee Andrews to buy a new amplifier. Look, I'm happy for you to deal with Lee, please, you know, go see him, and the other chap at Sydney Clocks, you know, definitely go and see him too. It's we won't even get into pricing. Look, at the moment there's a little bit of yeah, let's stay right out of that. Anyway, get the best price you can, and certainly talk to us. Look, we'll always be the cheapest because we have the least overhead. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to refer you on to one of the guys. If you live in Sydney, and I think it's more practical to send you to Lee, you know, sort of, then I'm probably going to do that. And by the way, Lee doesn't send me a margin for that. It's a courtesy, you know, it's something. But generally, we can do everything from drop ship from Bulgaria to we send these all over the world, and particularly New Zealand's a big market for me, huge market. So look, huge in the fact that Australia and New Zealand will never be huge. I've got to be careful with these words. An American or a European's going to go, oh yeah, tell me about your huge market. How many units did you do versus DX Engineering? That will be embarrassing. Anyway, okay, so let's just slow down a bit and go back into what is a DX1D, because this is what it's all about. I've cautioned you on buying anything with a 4CX800 or a 3-500Z tube in it, that you need to test it, you need to put it on a meter that, you know, can give you some output and show you the money. Oh, that's 1000 watts on that bird. I can tell you that is 200% accurate. Yes, the meter on here makes it look like 1200, I get it. Don't worry about that. But anyway, these are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful power amplifiers. And actually, we'll just go into just to see if that does still show a little bit higher than it should on here. It probably does. Hello, 1 2 1 2. Yeah, look, 1 2 1 2. Sometimes, and this is why I'd please have a decent meter. Because yes, this will tell you sometimes that you're getting your 1200 watts, etc., etc. This is really a PEP meter, no question about it, and it's a great indicator, but it's not a bird meter. So use it as a rough indication, absolutely. But I don't want to overstate it too much. But anyway, so your different screens, you can look at antenna, VSWR. At the moment, that should be. Oh, I need carrier. Sorry. Oh well, I won't bother going to carrier at the moment. But you can look at your SWR, look at your drive power in, RF gain, plate current. There's so much here now. 2688, so about 2.6 kV. As long as you're seeing, you know, something along that number can vary a little bit depending on your supply. You know, there you go. See what I just did. What it did then. Now. We run off the transformer here, which is we're not a swale line, we're still 2-line feed, but our transformer actually can be a bit low at times, so you know, that's something to be aware of. As long as you're somewhere between that 220 and 250 volts, you'll be fine. RF peak, screen current to keep an eye on. A number of things here that you will really not have to worry about, but certainly. I was gonna try and do a bit of a show you with the load cap, etc. Just let me see if I can set up. I wish I had a stand for this phone at the moment to make life a lot easier. Just having 2 hands free would be needed. Now, just before I try to show you this thing where I've got it between my knees and I'm doing bits and pieces, Acom give you a chart. So, and I always say to people, if you want to save yourself a whole lot of time, then have this chart somewhere very close by, because 9 times out of 10 it is so close. So let's say we're on 7 megs, 62 to 55. At the moment we're set on the tune around 62. 7 megs, 82 to 74. We're set on the lower side, probably 74. So this is where you can go, this will be very, very close. Very, very close. Don't have to panic too much. So let me just see if we can just hit the load. So basically we're going to transmit with a little bit of AM power. See how that little arrow there, now I need to not talk. So the little arrow here, sorry, because it's going to modulate and be a pain. I should have set up a little switch on this. They don't actually have a manual switch to transmit where I could just pull the mic out and go click. But anyway, we'll work through this. But you'll see this indicator that'll be here. Watch what I do. So all I'm going to do, we're on the load. There we go. So let me show you that again. I've gone and got the load cap. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but as I did that, hang on. This is where we were roughly. Look at that. As we get it specifically right on target to that center spot there, guess what? It peaks its power. So some people have argued with me that, hey, but aren't you just doing the same thing? That if, you know, weren't you, is that not the same as going like this here? And I'm going to do the same movement. Hang on. And yes, it is. So peak power equals exactly what we're doing here by setting the load right on that center spot there. Now, you might say, well, why do I just pick the power? Well, literally you can, except for if you didn't have this chart with you here and you didn't know these numbers, well, then suddenly this makes your life a lot easier. Turn that volume down. We don't really need to hear anything here, do we? To being able to set up. Now, you can certainly do the same thing with tune and load, and you can twiddle back and forth. And as I said, I just wish I might be able to do this here just very quietly. So all I'm doing, I'm just peaking my tune. I'm coming back to my load. Okay, so as you can see, this is so simple. And I'm sorry that it's a little bit, two-handed with two knees pushing the microphone together. We will get something set up a little bit better for some of this stuff. We need to. Number one thing is to stop using my phone and to start using third-party, like cameras that can be sort of looking down on actually, I've seen a bit of how Hayden's set up, and also Paul Ashby, probably some of the, two of the most prolific YouTubers I love to watch, and Hayden's work with video. He's very high-end editing. I love his work. I wish I could be that good. And Paul really gets you very close into what he's doing. He's a lot more articulate than me, I've got to be honest, and he can really show you with his cameras, what he's up to, and I'm really impressed with his stuff too. So I'm going to be trying to learn a little bit from them and see if we can do a little bit better. I don't think I'll ever be editing, to be honest. I just think time is not on my side. But anyway, so as you can see, tuning one of these things up is not awfully hard. Okay, so let's do something different. Let's say 10 meters. Let's go over to 10 meters, and I've already gone 24 to 28. So what's the other thing we'd do? All right, at this point, let's go back to our chart. 28 to 29.7. Now, look at this, 47 to 30, 56 to 48. Why the 47 to 30? Why is it such a large area? Well, that's an easy answer, because it's 1.7 megs of spectrum that it has to cover. So it doesn't know what you want. It doesn't know whether you want 29.6 or it doesn't know whether you want 28.490. But one side of the 30 is closer to 28.490, and the other side's closer to 28.6. So what I generally do as a startup, 47 to 30 on the tune. So I'll just find 47 to 30. I'll go 39. Doesn't matter. Don't panic. No big deal. And then we look at our chart again and we say, all right, 56 to 48. Not such a big spread there on the load, and you'll see why in a minute. So 56 to 48. So 56 is about there. 48 is about there. 52, 51, doesn't matter. As long as you're somewhere there, you have then got yourself so close, it's not going to matter. Now, I'm going to bring myself up a bit, actually, in the... this is going to take forever, isn't it? Not if I go AM. No, not if I go FM. Yeah, FM will be faster. I'm just going to take it up to 490, because, let's look at some settings where they end up for, say, 28.490. Just for the hell of it. It's no big deal. By the way, I had a little problem with this TS50 when I first fired it up. This one, I've got 5 of these sitting around the place, and isn't it always the way? The one I picked up just took a little bit of warming up. I'll explain that one day in another video. Okay, so let's go back to AM. And the reason we do that is that FM will give you full output. You don't want that. Okay, so you do want to, when you're testing and you're playing around with this, and I think that's another thing too, just to push. You'll notice I'm down at a much lower level when I'm tuning, so we can go and we can actually look at that and say, well, how much are you talking? Sorry, I went right past it. So we want to look at our forward power, and we have the amplifier on, which is bad. Okay, try that again. 16 watts, right. Now that's not a mistake, because we were already tuned up to some degree. We're very close. But how do I come into that with 100 watts, let's say, of FM, and I was miles off here? Your 4CX800 does not enjoy that. It's not something. So yeah, very good if you slow down a little bit, when you're doing this. All right, so we got 16 watts when I don't talk of power, so we know what's there. 16 watts, lovely, good tune power, just for making sure that we're somewhere in the mark. So we can go through. Our reflected power will be 0 because of the fact that we've just got our output power with 16 watts is going to be about 190 watts. And yeah, the bird meter says about 210, so yeah, no, I'm happy with that. Now, just making sure all my switches in the right positions, but they are. Yes, that's good. Okay, so this is a good power to be able to make sure. So now we're going to go back to the screen where we can see the load cap. We don't particularly need to every time, by the way, because as you'll see, oh, it's actually quite off. Look at that, I was going to say it'll probably be very close, but once again, 10 meters. Remember, I moved it from 28.0 to 28. We moved it 500 kcs nearly. So of course, it's going to want to be closer to the end of what they said here. So on the load, on 28 megs, they said 56 to 48. So 48 is obviously the 28 side of it, whereas if I go up to 29.6, it'll be closer to the 56. So let's just see. Once again, I've got to do my little trick of see how I can pull a bit more. See, I've just pulled it up to past 300 watts, but see how the load cap changed? There we go. So now, ideally, how we're tuned, we should be able to go to sideband. Now I've got sideband setting to drive about 50 watts, and we should see, it's all right, just checking everything here before I make a fool of myself, excuse me. And why don't we go to forward power? Oh, 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2, hello hello, 1 2 1 2 1 2, hello. Now I personally think that we can get that a little bit better. Now one of the other things to explain, when you're tuning at such low level, there will be a difference between the delta, and well, there is a delta. So when you have got it very close, you can actually sit there, and I don't know how I'm going to do this, so I need to do this as a PP with the mic next to my, okay. Can I just show you this? I'm going to have to tune it. So we're on, what are we on there? Around 46, sorry. Sorry, my glasses. 50. Okay, 46 and 50. So we're getting hello, 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 about 1,000 watts, sort of on the peak there. Let me just do a quick back forth tune on just power. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to say, can I get a little bit more by going hello test or putting a two-tone, of course. How much more can I get? All right, now you'll be able to see, look at this, not that much difference. I mean, we've moved maybe 1 point there. Very, very minimal changes. But have a look at this. Hello, 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 hello. So we're getting up to 1150 watts there, and it's definitely being hello, about 1,000 watts on the bird. So once again, I trust the bird over these. These will always be a little bit generous. You'll always feel good using this because when you watch this meter. But yes, just so you know, if you're a 400 watt fanatic here in Australia, where you've got to get every bit of the 400 watts out, you need to use this meter here. or another styled PP meter to assist you to get your 400 watts, because this one will always read just you probably are losing 40 watts or so if you do it that way. Anyway, all good. But hello test, 1 2 1 2 1 2. Yeah, beautiful. These are just magnetic. Look, I hope what I'm sort of getting across to you here is this is very easy to set up if you keep a copy of this here around and you know what your approximate tune sets are. Look, I've seen people with little stickers, where it says 6 meter, 6 meter, 10 meter, 10 meter, and so what they've done is they've put a little sticker at each point to say that's the middle point. That's the like in this case here, 47 to 30. Someone's put it at probably 40, and 56 to 48 on the 28 to 29.7. They've probably put it at 50, maybe 52. And so the sticker will always be close. I don't like that. I just think these are a piece of. I always tell people my cars are rolling art. Well, especially that latest 59 Corvette, which, as you know, I am in love with. Every time I take that thing for a drive, it's some sort of orgasmic. I don't know what goes on. Sam's getting worried. Same with radio gear. I like to keep everything pristine, everything looking, you just saw my Acom 2000 covered in dust. Yep, I like to keep everything pristine, and it's a battle. But no, I do. I like to try and keep things clean. And living out here in the country, yes, we are forever cleaning things, unfortunately. But look, as you can see, these are a great amp. Let me just really just recap here. Very simple to go through with your menus here to check everything from SWR, output power, and the same thing here, hollow, 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 hollow. Yeah, as you can see, hollow, 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 hollow. Yeah, beautiful. They're just a little bit, obviously, a little bit more than it's generous. Drive power, etc., etc. Anyway, look, you've got a fair idea. I could go through every band on this, but my client just said just run a couple of bands on it, and really he was just so excited about it. And that client actually owns an Acom 2000 as well. I sold that to him as well, and hasn't even got it out of the box yet. I'm going to slap him when I get over to the UK. Anyway, that client has bought tens and tens of thousands of dollars worth of gear from us. We're a huge international organisation, massive. Yeah, right. No, look, I do have some really loyal clients who are fantastic, and they buy from us. And don't get me wrong, we drop ship some of that, sort of worldwide as well, and then have good arrangements with some of the UK people. They know what we're up to, which is good. Anyway, hopefully this has given you a bit of a look at the Acom 1000. It is an absolutely lovely box, and the great news is that it packs and ships as a single box when you're shipping from overseas, or if you're shipping around Australia. It's right on 26 kilos, so it is a little bit of a funny thing with this whole rubbish about it's got to be on a pallet, or whether I've just recently found out the trick to this is to say no, it's 26 kilos, so it's a kilo over. And the other thing too with freight, I always put it one more kilo, so I say 27, and that's so they can't hit you with a $32 fee of you got the weight, So the measurements, I always make them a centimetre over on each direction, and I always make sure a kilo over, because they will hit you. These freight companies, they are loyal to themselves, and so just remember that. But if you do say to them, hey, I've got people to assist on both ends, then they will accept your parcel if it's sort of just over. If it's 30 kilos and over, you might be on your own there. We've had to strap them to pallets, little mini pallets and sorry, that was my whole point. The Acom 2000 is 40 odd kilos by the time you put two boxes together, we generally keep the two boxes apart for that reason, so that we can actually not have to put them on a pallet. But we've had times where like I do shipments of multiple Acom 2000s with setups that three with the combiner, so that all goes on a pallet strapped, and it's obviously 100 plus kilos, and I think it was about 160 or 170 kilos to do a 3 plus with the combiner. So anyway, all right, lovely amplifier. So this video's gone a little bit longer, but if you're seriously looking at an investment of over here in Australia, about $5,000, And that's what they are, guys. They're not expensive. Let me be very clear on that. A lot of rumours about an Acom 1000, is massive money, and I think the 2000s have got a little bit out of control, sure. And don't get me wrong, there's been some price rises because the price of valves have gone through the roof with this new valve that's being supplied, and the 4CX 800. But it is a brand new valve; it's not a pull. So there is that to be, contemplated. And I don't know yet. It's too early to say how those valves are compared to the Russian pulls. Well, they're not pulls; they're old stock. Sorry. We have pulls, obviously, and actually I was only talking about this with someone just the other day, and sometimes an old Russian pull, believe it or not, it can be good. It really can. It's it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. So anyway, you could smell its newness. Honestly, it's nice. I'm going to be very honest with you here. Everything I've intimated today is that this is a brand new amp, and I reckon I could have fooled you, because if I had have just kept bullshitting a little bit longer, I would have got you. But it's not. This here is 2 years old, from memory, I think. Yeah. Anyway, look, it didn't get a lot of use, obviously, but this person needs to come and live at my place. The supplier of this amplifier, you know who you are. Please come here, bring like all those cleaning cloths that you use and things. He's quite anal about keeping his gear and everything. I'm just jealous. He's a great guy, by the way. Yeah, look, he has really kept this beautifully. Hard to believe that this is not a brand new amp, isn't it? When you look at everything that I'm showing you at the moment, and I on purpose sort of intimated that initially. I left it sort of like you didn't really know. But yeah. Anyway, guys, hopefully this has given you a bit of a look at the Acom 1000. I do apologise this video's gone a little bit longer. It was important for me to talk about 4CX 800s. If you have a query about an amplifier you're about to buy, that's why we're here. Talk to us. I'm happy to advise you and to help you. I don't charge. Ring me. Look, advice is free, but we've seen 2 amplifiers recently that have absolutely floored me in the fact that they were misrepresented and they were totally not what the person said they were. Now, let me be very, very clear on one of them. One of them, I honestly believe he actually didn't know. He really didn't. He wasn't set up to do any great testing. He'd only ever run it at 400 watts. And when I said to him, hey, you've got a 4CX 800 in trouble here, you might want to just come and have a look at this. And anyway, asked me to do a video just to show, and that was a private video that you didn't get to see, and he could see that, oh, you're right, I never would have seen it. Now, sorry, one last thing. So let's say you've got an amp, legal limit here is 400 watts, and we all stick to it, of course, because nobody would run more than 400 watts for the fear of God, and the fact that it's Australia here, and not only can you have no freedom of speech or freedom of anything, certainly 400 watts, boy, 401, you could be in big trouble. So your question should be, well, could I still run a 400 watt level out of an amp with a tube that is starting to depreciate and starting to not be 100%? Yes, absolutely. You're not going to kill the amp. If anything, the tube is just running at a much lower level, which means the power supply regulator circuit, all the HV circuit, it's not even drawing much current when it's at 400 watts. It will run until it dies. So don't feel you need to run off and go crazy with. I was just sort of seeing. I thought it was a dog customer. It's my wife coming home there. There she is in her Subaru. Where's she going? Still driving. All right. Okay. But yeah, don't feel that. Oh my God, it's 800 watts or it's 600 watts. We need to pull it out before it crashes the whole circuit and this amplifier is toast. No, it'll just operate until it dies. A bit like the 3-500Zs. Isn't it funny? 3-500Zs. As they get older, they just want to run hot. The hotter they run, the more chance they're actually going to keep going. But look, sorry, one last bit of advice. Even though I've just bought an SB220 with 3-500Zs in it, too much time in Illinois with the Z thing, by the way. Sorry, Z. Please just be prepared. If you think a 4CX 800's gone up in price, try and get a 3-500Z ZZ. See, I said Z Z tube into Australia at any sort of, and try and get it in one piece. And no, look, I think the days of 3-500Z tubes and amplifiers could be starting to come to a bit of a, you know, a dangerous, costly end for some people. Otherwise, I'd definitely say, because I'm pro Acom of course, but I definitely say go tetrode amplifiers, or look at some of the solid state. Big supporter of Onda with VK amps. I think Onda does a great job, by the way. People have been asking me lately, oh, what about his tuning circuits and what about bandpass, blah blah blah, you know. And I keep saying, guys, look, this was an evolving field where everybody was learning, everybody, you know, and Onda included. I think Onda has been fine-tuning a product for the last 5 years, which he's got really working extremely well. Now, anyone that judges him on the first year, I mean, that's just not fair. I mean, he himself will admit that he was learning about what, you know, how to get the best out of it. And if you talk to Victor over in Russia, he'd admit the same thing, that, you know, there was a learning curve with any new technology. But not that I'm trying to throw business away, because Acom sell, you know, sort of LD MOS amps as well, and we want to sell you one. But I'm just going to be honest with you. I think the Onda's got us beat on LD MOS amps right now. Price $5,000 or so for a 2K, you know, 2 kilowatt amplifier. I think Onda's doing extremely well. It's a good product. I've had one here, compared it with you know, a lot of different things. Very nice product. So, as I said, not trying to throw business away, but I'm really happy to sell you an Acom amp in either LD MOS or valve. I'm probably more happy. I'm a valve guy. Remember that. I love my valves. So, you know, anyway. All right. So hopefully I haven't biased you too much in any direction here, and given you a little bit of an overview of just the whole Acom 1000, how easy it is to work and to tune and to, you know, to get good power out of it, etc, etc. 73s. Sorry the video went so long. If I can get 450,000 views like I did on the Corvette video with the beautiful looking girl that I don't think anyone's watching that video for me. I'm not even sure they're looking at it for the Corvette. I reckon it's that young girl that turned up halfway through the video. Now, if you haven't seen it, go to my YouTube page. Hey, please subscribe, guys. Hit the like button. I'm learning a bit about how Hayden's done what he's done. It's so clever. And I'm not doing any of those things. Apparently, I should be asking you to help me by subscribing, help me by hitting the like button, and we can sort of maybe share this information with more people as we get, you know, see our viewers numbers up a bit, and do the same with Paul. Pull it apart, Paul's. Paul and I are suffering the same thing. We think we're sort of doing reasonable content, but we get bugger all people subscribing or liking or blah blah blah. So, you know, please help myself and Paul out, because we're the little guys, you know, so that we don't have the big YouTube incomes. Hey, that's not a shot at Hayden. You got to remember, I love Hayden. I've known Hayden since he was 12 years old. Bought his first radio ringing me up at Jensen Electronics when I was a young apprentice. Love the guy. I think what he's doing is fantastic, and a lot of hard work goes into it. So yeah, I've got to be careful with my comments sometimes. It could be misread. But you will not find a bigger fan of VK7HH and HRDX. Go to HRDX, go to Pull It Apart Paul. Support the Australian channel, support the guys that are supporting you and trying to give you information on, you know, how to enjoy your hobby a bit more. 73s from VK3, Charlie Mike, Tangambalanga, Northeast Victoria. And again, apologies it went so long, but hit subscribe, hit like, all that stuff. Cheers, guys.